Hey, what's up, everybody? All right, let's get into this. Today is going to be the breakdown of my OP-1 video called Closer. Um, Before we start to dive into this, I just want to say one more time, everything that you hear here, including the full track, all the stems, the drum loops, the drum samples, the vocal samples, the synth one-shots, and the synth patches for the OP-1 are all going to be available for download in a link in the description. So if you guys like what you're hearing here and you want to mess around with it or use any of the resources in your own OP-1 projects, or any project for that matter, because they're just audio files, feel free to go download that. And if you like it, just, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll be sure to be doing this much more often. So yeah, let's get started. With these videos, I'm going to be going through my process in writing the track, and I'm just going to take you through that. So I'm going to start where I started, and we'll go all the way up until the performance. So yeah, let's see. The first thing that I did when I wrote this track was I wrote the chord progression, and I actually wrote it some time ago, and I didn't write it on my OP-1. I wrote it on my piano, and I never got around to using it in a project. So I said to myself, I like this, and let's make it into something different. Let's make it into an OP-1 video. So let's go through that. So I'm going to play that for you first, and you can hear what it sounds like. So there you go. That's the chord progression, and it kind of just loops like that for a while. The first thing that I did is I went into my synthesizer engine, and let me load this one up. I think it's this one right here. The synth engine is called Cluster, and I can't really explain to you what's going on here, because the way that Teenage Engineering does their synth engines, you really rely on your ears rather than visual cues. And here are the parameters, but I don't really know exactly what they do. You can hear them. I don't know exactly what they do, but here it is. And so that's what the synth sounds like raw. But I have, and here's the envelope. So I've got some, a decently long attack, so it gradually comes in. And in the effects unit here, on the effects page, I've just got this filter to take out some of the harsh high end. So I just toned that back a little bit. And that's what it sounds like. And then a lot of people ask me how I get, this pulsating effect, this side chaining effect on the OP-1. And it's sort of interesting. With their new update, well, not new, it was a while ago, they added something to the LFO section here called tremolo. And if you look at the tremolo here, we've got two controls. We've got tremolo for pitch, and we've also got tremolo for amplitude. And here's our frequency, and we can beat sync that. So 4 is at every quarter note, and this envelope control, we can change it to be a sine wave, or we can change it to be, this ramp up. And this is what I used. I used this exponential sort of ramp up to get that side chaining effect. So and that's the basis of the sound. Now let's talk about the chord progression here. Everything in this chord progression is pretty much major chords. So I start off with a C major 7 in root position. And that goes for six beats. And then on the 7th beat, I go up to D sharp major 7. Just again in root position. And then the last chord is another major 7 chord, except it has some interesting extensions in it. It's a B major 7 chord. except instead of playing the 3 here, I'm playing the 9 here, and instead of playing the 5 here, I'm playing the sharp 11 here. So this is the sound that you kind of get from that. And all together it's... And I didn't play that live when I sequenced it onto the track. I actually used this arpeggiator called Endless, and so I can show you. I wrote that chord progression in. Now those are all saved in there, so there you go, that's it. If I solo this, you can hear it how it's in here. Okay, the next thing I did was I wrote this drum loop. All pretty simple, just kind of this driving 4 on the floor thing. So let's go into my drum sampler and let's go to that kit. Again, this drum kit, along with the drum loops, available in the link in the description. You could download it and you can use them. So, and this is a custom drum kit that I made. They didn't come preloaded on the OP-1. So all it was pretty much something like that, something pretty simple. Let's see. Maybe I had a different hat in there or something like that. Something like that. Not very complex. In fact, in the intro section, which I have to the right over here, which makes no sense, but whatever, it's even a stripped down version of that. It's no hats, no extra kick drum. It's just super simple. So let's go to the next channel that I made, which was the next track that I made, which was my bass track. For those of you not listening on headphones or big speakers, you might not be able to hear that, but for those of you who are, let me play that for you guys one more time. And then it just loops like that. So let's go into my synth and turn this arpeggiator off. There you go. That's the synth. Again, this will be available if you want to use it. And all it is pretty much arpeggiations of the chords themselves. So hold it on C. There you have it. And I played that in because I wanted that groovy feel to it. I didn't sequence that. I didn't sequence the drums either. I like to keep my drums lively, and if I can play them and I can get that pocket that I'm looking for, it's much better than me programming it and then just using the swing function or something. So let's listen to the full section here. If you can pay attention, there's only one more track, which is number 1 here, which is just like these string sort of hits on the offbeat. So and with the chords. Again, in my synth, let's find that. I was using this this Pulse. I think it's called Pulse. Yeah, the synth engine is called Pulse, and it's kind of just like this pulse with modulation sort of synth. Oops, that's not it. There we go. Still, again, Pulse. All of these will be available. And it's just on the offbeat. So if I turn it off here. And now that I play this back, I think it could have been interesting if I played different inversions of this, you know, if I played it. I don't know. But that could be cool if you guys want to play around with the stems or something and find some cool inversions. But yeah, that was pretty much the backing track. In the intro section, which I can start looping here, I just have the watered down, not watered down, but the simplified drum loop and the same chords. And a lot of people ask me if you pay attention in the performance video, as the intro is playing, I'm holding down these memory buttons. And a lot of people ask me what I'm doing with these memory buttons. And I do a lot of things with the memory buttons, but in this particular case, if I go into my mixer section, you know, we have the mixer, we have the EQ on the master, we have the effects on the master, and we have, I guess it's just a compressor on the master, but it's also a meter as well. And if you pay attention, when I hold this memory button, I have this spring reverb loaded up, and there's always a little bit on the whole entire track because I like the stereo image that it gives rather than having the whole track in mono. So I have a little bit of reverb on the whole track, but when I hold down this memory button, it puts a lot more reverb on it. And if I go into my EQ and I hold down this memory button, I've cranked down the mids, I've gotten rid of some mids, and I've gotten rid of some highs. So if I go into, you know, tape mode and I play this while holding the memory buttons, you'll hear a little bit more reverb and the highs and the mids cut out. So it almost sounds like there's a filter on the whole track. And that's as opposed to this. Some interesting performance, some interesting performance things there. So let's talk about, the really cool sort of melody that I played over it during the performance. It's probably one of my favorite parts of this track. Again, in my synthesizer, using this synth engine called Digital, and I've got this sort of sound. Pretty cool. And what I'm playing is, again, just arpeggiations, just chord tones. And they make for some pretty interesting sounds because the chords themselves are interesting. So on the C major 7, I'm playing pretty much all the chord tones, except now I've got the 9 up here. And I'm just repeating that. Now that's when the chord changes to the D sharp major, and I'm playing D sharp, which is the 1 and the 3. So here it was 9, 3, 7, 5, 9, 3, 7, 5. And then I'm going here, and I'm using the octave button because I don't have the high G up here. And I need to reach that high G. I need to go an octave up. So I'm using the octave button here. And I'm just playing, that's 1, 3, 1. And now I'm playing over that B is just the 7, the sharp 11, and the 1. And all together that kind of sounds like this. Kind of cool. I have to say that was probably one of the harder things in the performance was to use these octave buttons here to change it while I'm playing that groove. It kind of threw me off the first couple times that I did it. Um, and then once I had that melody and I was playing it over, you know, once I messed that up, but once I was playing that melody, I kind of thought to myself, what else can I do with that? Um, what else can I do with that to make it more interesting? And as I'm sure you guys have seen in my other OP-1 videos, I love using vocal samples. So I loaded up a new vocal sample. I actually think I got this off of the FM radio, which you can sample directly from the OP-1 using an antenna. I got these vocals here. And what I did was I pitched them so I can just play that whole melody chromatically. Without having to worry about what notes I'm playing. I pitched these samples so that I could play it chromatically. Again, these, if you want to use these vocal samples in anything, link in the description, you can download them. That's what I play over this. Some pretty cool stuff. Let's see what else. Then I just started to arrange it. The way I arranged it was I had this intro section here. And if you go and watch that performance video one more time, you'll see that I'm just kind of switching through these things, muting some tracks, using these memory keys, and then playing the melodies. And then at the end, I take the fader and I just kind of fade it out. So yeah, if you guys like this, be sure to check the description. All of the stems, all of the synthesizers, all of the drums will be available for download. Give us a thumbs up and a like. Maybe subscribe if you want to see more of this. And, you know, keep rocking, keep vibing out. Have a good one, guys.